Hello everyone, welcome back to more AEW on TEW 2020. We're in the final week of August, 2 weeks before we get to our all-out pay-per-view. We start off with Rosemary defeating Skylar Moore. 20 rating, not the best. Bianca Corelli debuts and gets a awful rating in a match against Danny Jordan, but she does win. AJ Mendez defeats Ariana Andrew. Real quick match. Jurassic Express then defeat Eddie Kingston and the Butcher and the Blade. Big ol' 6-man tag. Abaddon defeats Mel. Thunder Rosa defeats Penelope Ford. Bandito defeats Griff Garrison. Darby Allin defeats Angelico. And Orange Cassidy defeats Dragon Lee. Our show of Dynamite begins with, what a surprise, the TNT Title Open challenges. Cody defeats Brian Pillman Jr. Brian Pillman Jr. recently paired up with Sting. And as Cody is celebrating in the ring, Sting, he's helping Brian Pillman Jr. out of the ring. And, he's still impressed with how well Pillman Jr. did, even though he lost against Cody. And then, there's no fanfare, there's no, nothing on the Tron, no music plays, it's just Andrew Everett rushes out from backstage, and he's, he comes up to Pillman Jr., he's talking to him, I'm guessing, at this point, probably Pillman Jr. is just, in the corner, you have, Sting on one side, Andrew Everett, he comes down, he's on the other side of the ring post. That's the word I'm looking for. He's talking to Pillman Jr., and, Pillman's listening to both sides, Sting's, congratulating him on a good performance. Andrew Everett, he's, hey, you okay, man? And eventually, Andrew Everett, he starts talking to Sting a little bit, and then they finally help Pillman. Finally, Pillman Jr. gets up, Andrew Everett, Sting, they both help him backstage. Then, we get Brandy Rhodes in a conference room. She's all suited up, she's all professional, Nightmare Family, they're flanking her. Of course, Cody's not, because he's at ringside, or he's at the ring right now, or coming back from the ring, so not enough time to get to this conference room. And Brandy says, thank you for coming today, and after a little bit of deliberation, decided to go through and sign you onto the Nightmare Family product, Jordan. While the challenge only lasted a few weeks, I think it was enough to see that you have a real future within the Nightmare Family. I've already talked to the other executives, and we've scheduled your first match. So, Jordan Grace, she has signed to the Nightmare Family. Brandy didn't have too many opponents. She faced off against Jordan Grace and AJ Mendez last week in a triple threat, and Mayu Iwatani 2 weeks ago. I'm going to probably assume that Brandy, she probably hit up Mendez first. Mendez was like, I'm not really interested in, joining the Nightmare Family. I'm fine on my own. And then probably just couldn't even get a hold of Mayu, so just... I'm like, not that, Brandy's like, I guess I'll just have to settle for Jordan Grace. No. Because of the lesser events, right now Jordan Grace is actually at Recognizable, so that is pretty good. Ricky Starks defeats Jonathan Gresham, and, oh, interesting. I'll have to remember that. And I forgot to put people on screen. Oh well. After the match, Taz heads into the ring. He has Brian Cage, who slides in. He was at ringside. Well, okay, I'm saying he's at ringside. He wasn't actually, because he has his broken wrist. And Taz, he gets a mic, and he hands the mic over to Ricky Starks. And Taz says, hey, best friends, you think you can just walk on scot-free since the Machine, Brian Cage, got his damn wrist broken from kicking the living hell out of someone? Well, you better think again. Don't you worry, yo jabronis, I got something else in stock. I got another member of the team. Go ahead, introduce him, Ricky. And Ricky, he smiles, he's still, he's still breathing a little bit heavy from defeating Gresham. Gresham's a good opponent, yeah. Ricky Stark says, sometimes you gotta get more machines while yours gets repaired, friends. Jeff Cobb comes out onto the stage. He joins Team Taz. So, Yeah, Jeff Cobb, he's working in towards that group. Another wrestling machine. His gimmick is the wrestling machine. Brian Cage is the machine, so makes sense. Jeff Cobb, pretty bad on the mic, but you have Taz, you have Ricky Starks, and yeah, just overall, I think it's a pretty good pairing. I don't think he's still going to be the third member of the squad. He's, not going to be as good as Brian Cage. He's not going to be as good as Ricky Starks. He's just going to be the third guy. Jordynne Grace gets her debut with Brandi Rhodes in her corner as she defeats Big Swole, a 52 rating. Again, mostly from the lesser show. What I did for the lesser show was, Jordynne Grace and Jonathan Gresham beat Cody and Brandi Rhodes in a mixed tag match. After this, we cut to backstage where Tenille Dashwood and Deonna Purrazzo are. They're interviewed regarding their action. And I didn't actually put Dasha in here, but whatever. It says, our actions, Dasha? Our actions should honestly have spoken for themselves. We'll wait for Nyla to lose, sure, but after that, that belt is as good as ours. We got the numbers advantage against everyone. And even with Jordynne Grace joining the Nightmare family, they have absolutely no shot of beating us. Brandi's hardly even a wrestler. Allie's old news. They're only anywhere near where they are because of Brandi's part of the executive team. Kairi Hojo is just some castaway from Japan, and we'll prove that to her. We'll put our contendership on the line and all out, Hojo. If you win, you'll face Shida. We win, we face her. No ifs, ands, or buts. So the VIPs club, these two, they are quite talented in the ring. Are they quite Kairi's level? I don't know, but they are going to do, seems like a handicap match. So we'll see how things go from there. After this, we get Moxley in his weird, backstage room thing, whatever it is. And probably just, you have someone off stage, or off screen, rather, who's asking, hey, what do you think about, the title situation? And Moxley just says, honestly, it's a toss-up. MJF has more potential than anyone I've ever seen in a long time. And Pac's definitely proven himself to be someone at the top of the wrestling world for years. It's almost too tough to decide between them. So I've talked with Tony Khan, and we've okayed a triple threat at All Out, so we get the best of both worlds. Yeah, it means I can lose my title from someone else being pinned. What of it? They both deserve it, for sure. But I think it would be rude on both parts to not be involved in a bit of tune-up beforehand. So, me and Cody have agreed to take on both of you in next week's main event. Cody's running an open challenge usually, so he's open. Now how about you two? If you don't agree, maybe I'll give Cody that title shot. Maybe Cody will become a double champion. So, really, he's almost holding MJF and Pac hostage at this point. Because, obviously, I don't think they'd really like working on a team together, but they're gonna be forced to have to. Kairi then defeats Riho. Kairi's still working through her broken ribs. And she still does manage to beat Riho despite of that, but Riho actually had the higher performance. Sammy Guevara then defeats Dustin Rhodes. We'll get a little bit more of an explanation on the match right here. As during the match, Sammy, he's mocking Matt Hardy, so I imagine he just comes out, he has, Matt Hardy has that I Don't Die shirt. Probably Sammy just, incredible creativity, just spray painted the don't out. So, it's, Matt Hardy, I do die, whatever. He's, mocking his mannerisms, probably mocking some of Jeff's mannerisms. He's probably a few times through it, he does, some deletes to Dustin Rhodes, probably some V1s here and there. I don't know, maybe at one point he just, mocks the broken laugh or something like that. Really, he makes fun of all stages of Matt Hardy. And before, probably leading up to his 630, hits a twist of fate, then climbs top rope, 630, that pins Dustin Rhodes. And Sammy, he's looking at Dustin, he's still kind of just disgusted by, the old man, the old wrinkly, face-painted man. And then he just gets a mic, starts talking, directed at Hardy. Hardy's not here yet. He says, you think you're so special because you picked up a win against me? It's a fluke, old man. Nothing more, nothing less. You're 6 years out of your prime, same as this old man in the ring right now. So, Matthew, how's about this? How's about I retire your ass? No DQ, Matt. I'm even offering this olive branch of friendship by going into work on your own territory. If that's not kind, I don't know what is. So, Matthew, ball's in your court. Probably tosses the mic down, like, I imagine it's like perfect timing. Tosses the mic down, Matt Hardy slides into the ring, he's got a steel chair, probably just grabbed it from the crowd, and just whacks Sammy on the back with it. Standing over him, he's looking down, he's kind of just disappointed, you know, a little bit of a crazy look in his eyes, and Matt Hardy doesn't want to get retired. He hasn't agreed to the retirement stipulation, but he has seemed to agree to the no DQ. Miroslav then defeats Colt Cabana in just under 3 minutes, and the Gun Club then come out, and Miro starts yelling at them. It's not even with a mic, he's just yelling at them. We can't really understand what he's saying. And Miro, once he gets his mic, he finally starts speaking a little bit more. He says, "You think you can just play around, Gun? Well, you're damn wrong. Billy, I'll challenge you and your pathetic son. Handicap match, 2-on-1. I'm not afraid of you. So you're just some old bag of bones ready to be ground into dust. You've thrown your son into the firing line by letting him even think about wrestling. Do what you want, Billy. I'll take you out of the business permanently." Miroslav, obviously, as I said, he's going in for a handicap match. And, I mean, I think he'll do pretty well. Chris Jericho keeps up his open challenge by defeating Flamita with a Judas effect. And then in our main event, FTR, very nice, they defeat the Lucha Bros. So, yeah. Very nice there. Okay, interesting. So, after the match, the tag champs, Adam Page, Kenny Omega, they walk out. And they're both, like, probably... Kenny's holding his... Actually, they probably both just have the belts, like, around their waist. And Adam Page, he's pretty obviously drunk. He has a bottle of whiskey or something like that in his hand. And he's not really there right now. Kenny, he takes his title off, he holds it up. He's like, "Alright, Page, you do the same." Like, he's looking at him, he's talking to him. And Page is just out of it. He's like, what do you want me to do? And Kenny just kind of rolls his eyes. He gets a little bit fed up. And he just... Like, he probably, like, throws his title over his shoulder, unbelts Page, puts his title up, and he's holding both of them up. Kenny's yelling at both of them, saying, you know, like, "I'm the champ, you guys aren't." And he very specifically says that he is the champ, not we are the champs, he is the champ. So, you know, not FTR, you guys still have to prove yourself, you're, you know... You're good wrestlers, sure, but you're nowhere near our caliber, something like that. And he just keeps talking, and then probably during this, Kurt Angle, he's probably trying to be the bigger man. He's, you know, steps in front of FTR. He's like, "Alright, guys, we don't need to, you know, don't make anything too hasty. Don't go insane with this." And Page eventually is just like, "You know what? This is too annoying." He walks to the ring, has his cup in hand, and Kurt Angle, he turns from him and is like, "Alright, if you want, don't come into the ring, Page." And, I mean, Page doesn't, just splashes the alcohol right into Kurt's face, and then pretty much immediately, before Kurt can even say anything, Dax and Cash, they rush out, they start beating down Page pretty easily, mind you. I mean, Page, he's out of it this entire time. And then... like, they're beating him down probably for a good, like, 3, 4, maybe even, let's say up to 10 seconds. Probably no more than that. And Kenny's just like, really? Eventually he just kind of chases after him. He still has both belts on. It's a lot of work, but Dax and Cash, they run off. They're like, "Alright, you know what, fine. We'll save this for All Out." And eventually, Kenny, he helps Page up to his feet. He still has both titles. And he's just like, what are you doing, Page? That was completely uncalled for. You didn't need to do that. And, you know, they're heading backstage. Kenny's just yelling at Page. Page almost looks like, you know, he's like a sad dog. He's getting chastised. A young child is getting chastised. and show goes to black. We get a... Really? I guess that main event was the only thing that was bright green. Or vibrant green. I mean, this was a good all-around show. I'll definitely... I always have a problem with I really reset my stories quite a bit, so probably at All Out, I'll probably rework my storylines a decent bit. I still have some that I definitely have just, completely planned out. Well, not completely planned out, I don't plan anything, I just kind of have an outline, so I just planning or whatever. I have some storylines that I will keep going, some I'll drop, and just kind of work through there. Another big thing that will be happening after All Out, you will see it, don't worry, but we will get to that in 2 episodes' time. Well, okay, new stuff will be in 3 episodes' time, but All Out, 2 episodes' time, come back for that.